and then from there, I'm like, hey, Lev, like if you ever want someone on your stream, like invite Monoxus. If I ever have to go to a social event and I had to drag one person, it would be him. So there's a possibility Monoxus is gonna end up on the as the host of the McLaughlin group before I even become a guest.
I mean,
But
apparently, Sunday he's doing like what, like a drawing stream or something,
I
and I'm
think
supposed to pop in with what was it? Fucking what's his name? Dorama and
I don't
Zero
know.
HP Lovecraft.
I don't know if the first.
Radio, Daruma Radio. We were just
Yeah.
Yes,
talking about Monoxus. Do you know Radio?
No, I don't
Oh,
know either.
he's
I don't know any of these guys, to be honest.
Radio is zombies. Radio is a guy Zombie knows in real life in Canada who was his podcasting partner,
oh,
Okay.
nice. Okay.
who I am trying to reach out to a bit socially. Sorry, Haynes.
No. Don't be sorry. Monoxus, not to put any pressure on you, but Zero HP Lovecraft is one of the best writers living today. I hate to put, but dude, just go to his Twitter and take 5 minutes out of your day and internalize on what different level this guy is broadcasting from.
No, it's fine.
Like,
I'm just gonna shit post while they talk about important things.
so no. He's pleasant. It's just I'm not gonna lie. The very first stream I was on, he was a guest, and I felt like I was about to have a heart attack made out of strokes because it's like crap. Like this guy's he never misses.
Zero HP is crazy because he's just a Twitter guy for the most part. At least I think of him as a Twitter guy. But he's like one of the few artists I respect on this planet right now because he will just casually throw out a thread that it gives you wisdom about the world. If I'm ever a POW in a Chinese indoctrination camp, I'm going to understand how to navigate reality because of Zero HP.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like even things where he's like, in the future, augmented reality is gonna is the forefront. It's not virtual reality. And then you're just gonna walk around in public and see everyone's augmented reality avatar. I mean, you already see it with profile pictures of people on Twitter. You're gonna see it in real life. And then 2 years later, augmented reality now changing the way we see the world outside. And it was like, fuck, that was a throwaway tweet, and it was right. So will his nightmare tweets come true as well? He never misses. And real quickly before I forget, I don't know. All right, and this is just hearsay. Oh, the first piece is hearsay and conjecture, and the second piece I only know of because of Twitter slap fights. Okay, um, I'm not fond of this gentleman on Twitter named Logo Daedalus. Like he's like I like what I like what he posts on. I like what he submits to Ghost Jail, but like he just comes up as like a chinless worm who looks like Albini's like third related distant cousin with a drinking problem with fetal alcohol syndrome and is chained to the wall and fed fish heads once a week. That's what he looks like to me. He's yeah, and he looks like every like gifted kid that squandered their ability and found a niche somewhere online. And he does this thing where he's like you, like arguing with motherfuckers that aren't there. So because he's Cantbot's like domestic partner, I suppose. I don't know. It's weird to see Cantbot shield him from all harm on the internet like some precious artifact child. But Cantbot went nuclear on me once, which was weird. Like we were mutuals, and one day I made a joke about the 1979 hostage crisis, and I ran. He's like, "You stupid fuck! How can you be so stupid? How can you fuck up this bad?" And it's like, bro, you fucking tweeted at me 11 fucking times back to back, then you blocked me. All right, there, buddy. Like you seem so I figured like, all right, like I'll block his domestic partner Logo. Fine. Like fuck that guy, chinless little shit. And then I'm like, oh, he tweeted something I said on episode 5 of Ghost Jail. Okay, I'll unblock you. Like you tweeted words from a man who blocked you on Twitter. I win. Go fuck yourself, you chinless little shit. So him and HP Lovecraft, Zero HP Lovecraft were arguing about something. I forget what it was, but he said something to the effect of like, you're haunted by your insider knowledge and you're trying to get penance for helping create Candy Crush. And Zero HP Lovecraft went, "Why must you make this personal?" And I was like, oh, like what? Excuse me? And between you and I, Green, all of his writing on his website has a Spanish translation, and I've always assumed, oh, this guy probably lives in Spain or a Latin American country and has perfect command of the English language, but speaks through a voice modulator because like it was his second language, and no one can speak it perfectly unless like you're in the movies or some shit, you know? So that's all I know about that dude. And seriously, like his writing is some of the best. Like I'll say Cormac McCarthy is the greatest living writer like on earth today. All right. But if you count the internet and not just literature, Zero HP Lovecraft is pretty up there too.
Zero HP is incredible in his ability to just get so to the point, and he speaks with a real eloquence as well. Where when I'm on Twitter, I'll occasionally have a good thread. I am not a masterful Twitter writer. It's a point of shame with me. Zero HP will make a point very clearly and quickly, but he's so good at adding a little turn of phrase, a little metaphor, playing with sentence structure, where it's almost like poetry, but he's railing against the fundamental inferiority of women or the fall of fucking Western society or something like that. That's actually unfair because HP, even though HP is one of those people who absolutely will anger women if they're exposed to them, I think he's very fair overall. Kantbot, I don't completely understand Kantbot. It's weird to have this prepackaged celebrity on Twitter when you're a latecomer there, because I was aware of who Kantbot was after people stopped caring, I think, if they ever did. Kantbot did block me, although in my case, I did call him a scumbag and told him to block me, so that's probably why he did it.
Nice.
Logo was a little weird because Logo's one of those people, I wish I liked Logo, because 1 out of 10 of his takes is really interesting and helpful. But then he's just ranting about the Anglo Empire or the Masons, and I just don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, he's a perfect example of once you hit 10,000 followers, like then you could publish a book and you have enough like word of mouth and people around you to help disseminate it. So he wrote a book, and it's like he does the equivalent of farting into a brandy snifter and wafting it into his face. And like you mentioned, like Anglo's this, Freemasons that. You know what you do? You know what you do that I don't like? You know what else you were doing that I don't like? I'm going to make a 40 tweet thread and just keep going, you. And it's like, dude, like, are you like pointing out the window between tweets and like get fuming? Like, what the fuck is this? I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
I was going to say, Twitter has been a weird thing for me, because I went to Twitter very late in the game. When it first dropped, I found it just unintuitive and didn't really get involved with it. When I was making videos, I eventually decided, I should get on Twitter to try to promote. And what I learned about Twitter is, unless you're extremely good at Twitter, trying to promote shit through Twitter is really hard. I don't think it's great for that, for most people, unless you're just a Twitter virtuoso, which Haynes, you kind of are, at least compared to me. And with me, I found Twitter is not great if you're a small content creator who's not the best at advertising yourself. Twitter is phenomenal for meeting other people, though. And that's what I really like about it, where so much of my current social circle was developed through Twitter. If you want to find interesting individuals that you can have a back and forth with, Twitter is incredible. I know of nothing else like it, and it probably has never existed.
Real quickly about Twitter, because we were discussing Mr. Intellectual Gypsy Triggered Fatty Beef Tits, I have to now pretend to be I'm above all of it, and I angrily block people at the slightest inconvenience. Kantbot. His story arc.
Kantbot. Okay.
Damn.
I didn't know who you were talking about.
All right.
That's a pretty big title there.
Oh, listen. You know what's really sad?
Sounds like you had a bone to pick.
Oh, I do, and it involves ghost jail. This is why. All right. So, I still don't know why people follow me on Twitter. However, Green, you're very thoughtful and kind in saying I know how to use Twitter. I kind of don't really. A lot of it like is just right place. Like I'll give you an example. Like you know who Justin Wang is?
Kind of.
He's a YouTuber and like he's fucking hilarious, right? So like Masked Bastard, a gentleman I'm mutuals with. He's a imagine a hillbilly from West Virginia in a black luchador mask, and that's him. We play D&D with him every Friday. So
Oh, I'm pretty sure Mass Bastard is the guy who recommended The Boys to me on
oh,
Twitter one time.
all right. Oh, see,
Yeah, I
he's
like it. I like him.
he's such what a champ. And Justin Wang is mutuals with him. And like one time Masked Bastard retweeted like I posted a clip of early like UFC when there was like no weight classes, no rules, no nothing. And I was like, things were different before 9/11. And that was the first tweet I ever made that went viral. He retweeted it, and then Justin Wang retweeted it, and then Justin Wang followed me back. All right. So like I've gotten lucky where like for example, like last night I was like, oh, I like this picture. Let me retweet it. 3 seconds later, Justin Wang has retweeted your retweet. I'm like, all right, this will do numbers. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody. And the picture is like this giant brolic demon with goat legs and horns stuffing someone's head into a guillotine and a skeleton getting the guillotine ready. And the big brolic demon is like, the dialectics are in motion. And the skeleton is, I just wanted affordable healthcare. And you see like corpses littered all around the guillotine.
Oh, I saw
So-
that one.
Yeah, so like sometimes it's just like right place, right time. And you know what's weird though, Green? Like talking to people like people is how they end up following me back. Like that's how Frank Castle followed me back. That's how Cantbot followed me back, or Cantbot, oh, whatever. Just now you got me saying it all proper and shit, Green, you jerk. Just real quickly for ladies and jerks watching at home, once upon a time, there was a podcast called Tech Wars, and it was one of the most popular things in the world. Tech Wars had guests like Delicious Tacos, Zero HP Lovecraft, Sam Hyde, Logo Daedalus, all these people. So when Chinese lung herpes happened, the podcast like came to an abrupt halt, and no one knows all the details, but it was like okay, like it was Kanfat and this guy named Warren Nokoshima, and it was sad because it was like I was mutuals with both, and it was like watching a couple get divorced. Like it was public, it was ugly, like because they moved in the same ecosystem, now people are like either forced to take sides or just ignore that there's an argument happening in the living room 24 hours a day. So eventually Warren posted receipts like wire transfers, like evidently like he lent Confot thousands upon thousands of dollars because he got doxxed after that Face When No Girlfriend documentary came out. And like it was just so then like lawyers got involved because evidently someone trademarked Tech Wars and only one person had access to the Gumroad. So then from that point forward, because Confot like because his livelihood depended on him being online, he then became like a weird above it all intellectual gypsy of sorts. But like, you know, I guess if you get between a man and his means to support himself, like he'll turn into a rabid dog. So like that's the so that is when Confot's heel turn begins. All right.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, just one last thing. One by one, he just started going nuclear and burning bridges. Like people he had been mutuals with for so long burned bridges. Like John Palech, a guy who was a guest on Tech Wars multiple times, and like, hey, hanging out with Confot and Warren in person, your photos, and like you see that like over the years, and like even he burned bridges with him. It's just like he somehow, it's like he's gonna make a career burning bridges. So Confot blocked me and like all the people involved in Ghost Jail. He blocked them all, made an alt, and then just started lurking and responding and replying to every single like tweet like the Ghost Jail people would make. And like he waited for his Gumroad money to clear before quote tweeting someone talking about Ghost Jail and going, never listen to my podcast ever again, you disgusting blah 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 blah. And we're all like, bro, like, are you okay? So shit, I'm as bewildered as anyone else. And it's like,
Wait, and this came out of like nowhere? He just decided to be like against Ghost Jail for reasons?
oh, because episode 2 was about liberals, and he was like, "You're stupid. The politics is dumb. It's all wasting your time. What are you fucking owning the libs? This you're gonna make a career out of owning the libs?" And it was like, hey, episode 1 was about women. Episode 2 is about liberals. You understand that every episode has a different subject, right? Kanpat is blocked. Like he just turned into a angry, petulant child.
What was his angle on that? Because Ghost Jail is not, for people who don't know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see Ghost Jail as anything that has an agenda beyond simply trying to get interesting perspectives out there. I don't understand. Did he just think talking about politics is inherently bad? Because that seems like an odd angle.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. Like, a hallmark of mumbo jumbo times is people playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but there's only 1 degree, and Kevin Bacon is blank. For like ethno narcissists, Kevin Bacon can be whiteness or white people. You know what I mean? Or white supremacy or whatever buzzword. On Twitter for a couple of years, Kevin Bacon used to be the patriarch or Trump or Republicans. And for Konfuts, the CIA, like anything can happen. He'll somehow be like, and you know why the CIA? So like on one hand, I understand that like certain fields of politics are like kind of a waste of time. Like you have to be knowledgeable about it, but like getting yourself involved in criticizing identity politics. Identity politics is just a way to sublimate time and energy from the left and the right wing into harmless things that don't threaten existing power structures. So I get it. Criticizing identity politics is like punching down, shooting fish in a barrel, whatever. However, I think I don't even think he listened to it. I think he just saw the word liberals and be like owning the libs, huh? And it's like, can you at least listen to what people said before? Like he doesn't. It's like he's on autopilot. Like his brain is constantly going, "How can I connect this to the CIA?" Because he like, what are we? Anyways, to answer your question, Green, my opinion or theory is that like he saw people responding to Ghost Jail, and it probably reminded him of how people used to respond to tech wars, and like he just lashed out, like that, because like when tech wars was getting popular, like people were talking about tech wars like it was the greatest thing in the history of ever with no peer or equal. Like complete randos going, bro, I just listened to Tech Wars, best podcast ever. So like when you start seeing people come out the woodwork like Ghost Jail is the best podcast you're not listening to, Ghost Jail this, Ghost Jail that, he probably got angry. But it's like, hey, it's on SoundCloud and it gets a couple of thousand views a month. You are the Tech Wars guy. Like, why does this upset you? Like, it just made no fucking sense.
What the fuck does this guy even do? Like, oh no. Well, what I mean is, how does this person survive? Because you mentioned the podcast, and I assume the rights are taken from him. So you said he has a Gumroad.
Right.
So he's one of these internet rebels who can't live on a platform that pays them regular wages, so they have to get a bunch of people to throw money at them on Gumroad. Correct?
Well, correct. Like because he started up a new podcast and he lives off of his Patreon. Presumably, he lives off of his Patreon. I don't know if anyone else is propping him up, but like, here's the weird thing. Like, I just want to add one more thing to the whole Konbot saga. There came a point where he was like, and I suspect that Bronze Age pervert is secretly funded by Peter Thiel. And you know who else? And it's like, all right, now he's turned into like, that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where Charlie's like, who's Pepe Sylvia?
Yeah,
like that's what Konbot has turned into now. He's just like why is some dude in the Caribbean who originated from Eastern Europe, who has his own podcast and tells people to lift weights and avoid plastics, that guy's funded by Peter Thiel? All right, buddy. like whatever helps you sleep at night, Kanpat. It's there, buddy. It's okay. Tomorrow you'll take more Adderall and read 20 books and tweet about it, and no one knows what you're saying, and it's gonna be okay, buddy. It's gonna be okay. Like
Those people, those people, what really gets me about them is they often fixate on a single framework for how to examine life and reality, that the details of what they do, I'm sure they put a lot of work into it and they have some very clever thoughts. But the core concept of what they're talking about doesn't seem important. For Logo, for example, he keeps tying things back to the Anglo Empire and the Masons, and I don't care. That's a thing about like Jewish conspiracies that always got me. It's like, Jews run things. Like, okay, I mean, even if they do, they seem to be good at it, so I'm not that worried about it. Like, yeah, I don't care in the first place. I don't care if the Anglo Empire casts a long shadow over the rest of human history. I'm fine with that. What is the downside to the Anglos?
Oh, but that's the thing. Like I said, Green, a hallmark of mumbo jumbo times is people playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but there's only 1 degree and Kevin Bacon is blank. Like for Logo, it's Freemasons and Anglos. For Kanfat's the CIA. You know, like it's really, or half of Pole or more, it's Jewish people. Like everywhere they go, it's like okay, you know that movie They Live with Roddy Piper?
I've never watched it, but I know all the memes. Yes.
Okay, so Kanpat puts on the glasses, CIA's everywhere. You know, Logo puts on the glasses, just the 33-degree compass with the M with the F in the middle. He sees it everywhere. Like, so it's. I just want to touch on one thing real quickly though. I learned very quickly that if you just talk to these people, like they'll respond to you like people. Like I remember, because when you see people reply to other people on Twitter, and it's like, wow, like I could see the brown lipstick through my screen. You're just hoping this motherfucker notices you, and they'll pile slavish praise upon people. So I remember Kanpat said something to the effect of Bernie's going to drop out the race today. 8 hours later, he legit dropped out the race, and he was like, "Oh, geez, I should have tweeted something else." And I'm like, "You tweeted it, Chief. You can't untweet it. Kanpat has followed you." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm not gonna lie, it helps get eyes and ears on what Monoxys and I do when a guy with a bunch of followers likes my crap or even replies to my stuff. However, it's kind of bizarre and perplexing because what's the nicest way to put this? It's almost like they find themselves having to live up to their own online reputation. So he started off as Kanpat, and now he's like a cracked up parody of what Kanpat used to be. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'll take your word for it. I will say about Twitter, it's very odd when you have a complex Twitter presence where I still have quite a few mutuals and reply guys who are in the Anna Twitter thing. And at this point, that's 10% of my tweets, if that. And moving out of that is hard. And it makes me a lot more cognizant of what I retweet sometimes, which I almost feel uncomfortable about, where I'll have one really schizophrenic political take that I'm having in a thread with one guy somewhere else. Then I have some vapid fucking anime opinion, or I want to retweet some fan art. And in my head thinking, okay, I should probably at least be cognizant of the fact that different people are following me for different things.
I think as long as you're consistent in Twitter, I don't want to say that's what people will know you for, but take Eigenrobot, for example. He's one of the few really endearing and sincere accounts on Twitter, because I don't get I get nothing but a good impression from him. And again, I'm not trying listen, I failed upwards in Twitter. Okay, I don't know why people follow me, but he once made a joke about my wife married me because I listen to Anal Cunt, and he posted an Anal Cunt song. and I have an anal cunt pin, and I'm like, all right, buddy, it's yours. And then it's like, Eigenrobot followed you, and it's like, ah, shit. Now I gotta try. However, one thing I'd like to point out, like on Twitter, for example, um, like as Monoxus said, like just giving no thought to something. I'll be like, fentanyl was found in George Floyd during both autopsies. 97% of all fentanyl that comes from America is from China. China killed George Floyd. And it's
you
like,
wonder how you get fucking like search suggestion banned.
but here's no. Here's the
Fucking
thing.
bring up Floyd in China in one sentence. You had your mind. Twitter hates that shit.
No. I got search suggestion banned for saying Aaron Hansen sheltered a possible pedophile who never got any during high school. So now for the rest of his life, he's constantly chasing girls he couldn't get when he was younger, and he's stuck in a time. That's what got me. But I deleted the tweet, and I'm not search suggestion banned anymore. That's you see, because like, listen, I've learned to pick my battles. Okay, I've learned like you can't like see. It's kind of like there's no. It's like spell check in the '80s. It'll tell you made a mistake, but it won't tell you how or where. So like you could only know how far to push the envelope unless like fuck up or like Charlie, for example, aka Masked Bastard. He's on his second account, and his first account got suspended, and he was like, now I know to what degree of spice I can take things to. But real quickly, Green, like so like with Eigenrobot, I just figured like I just talk to people like people. And like, I'm not gonna lie, like that dude is like super smart, and he's always engaging, and he's always coming from different directions. And like, if he likes something I tweet out, like I hate to admit it, like I could kind of be like, all right, I don't have to use Twitter for the rest of the day. That's it. For the rest of the day, his one like will get people looking at something for the next 12 hours. Like I'm done. I don't have to be on this website anymore. However, it does put a little bit of pressure because I just can't start tweeting like, fuck you too. I don't like Gumroad. Google is the worst thing ever. I have to shave. Chocolate is terrible. You smell. Like I can't tweet that.
I had a bit of a Eigenrobot was actually one for me as well. I started following him not long after Twitter, and when I found Eigenrobot, it was last year. And I think from context, me and Eigen lived like 5 miles from each other. So little things about Seattle were coming up. And unless I'm totally fucking off base with that, I found him really endearing. He followed me a little while ago, and that was kind of a crossing the Rubicon moment of like, okay, I'm now hitting the point where wholesome, respectable accounts that I really like are kind of involved with me. I probably need to make some decisions about what my Twitter presence is going to be. I did have the presence of mind the other day to delete and or censor a tweet where I was actually threatening Dr. Fauci, which I thought, Twitter probably wouldn't like that. After they told me the vaccine I got might kill me with a blood clot.
Oh, you got the Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah. I sure got the Johnson, all right, straight from Fauci.
What were you going to say to Fauci? Because now I got to know.
Well, it wasn't even anything that bad. I was just like, you fucking Fauci said something to the effect of, oh, you should be fine. And I said something like, yeah, you better fucking hope I am, bitch. And I realized, that wasn't even that bad. But I could see Twitter just having a lifetime ban on anyone who threatens to harm Dr. Fauci. So I figured I better not.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought that shit was pretty funny, though, that it was like they had to pull it because of blood clots. And then he comes out and he's like, if you've already had it or you just had it, just don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it. And then, of course, of course, there were all the charts of, the hormones cause blood clots even more. This is bad for women that you don't care. It's like, yes, I know that has nothing to do with this.
Yes, but this is something where a woman can go, I'm just going to not take those hormones because you don't have to, versus, hey, this vaccine that they're pushing for everyone to get that people want to take. I'm sorry, it does what now?
I will say this about birth control. It's frustrating when women complain about birth control in the sense of, oh, it should be this social thing that we're constantly feeling bad for them. It is also basically an object of religious faith that you have to believe that birth control is this sacred thing that you can never question in any context ever. And it's like fucking manna from God, and also we're supposed to feel bad for them for having it, which I don't get that.
Well, it's sort of spoken of in the same terms of like excuse me for saying this, but it's sort of spoken in the same terms as like abortion, where like the most fervent of people, like they had an abortion and the most fervent supporters of abortion, and like I'm pro-abortion because like ultimately at the end of the day it's a woman's choice, but like it should be noted that this is my opinion. If birth control and abortion wasn't so readily available, like I think women would be a bit more prudent in the decisions that they make of like, like reading an article that says fuck 100 guys before you get married. And then those are the same people who are like, why am I the only person in my friends group that isn't married? Like, like something like birth control and abortion. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, one thing that really, like, I stopped using Tinder because like there came a point where like women would be upfront and be like, like, are you clean? And it's like, yeah, but I have protection and I don't know what your deal is. And she's like, oh, like I'm on the pill. And in my head, I'm like, that doesn't prevent STDs. Like, you're not like whatever leaks out of a dude's dick won't get you pregnant, but that's not going to stop like something irreparable that might be a death sentence. And like, I believe like the worst of the worst approach, birth control and abortion, as if it somehow like allows them to sidestep certain things, or it becomes like you mentioned, Green, it becomes a religious object where like even the slightest amount of criticism means you're a disgusting misogynist who hates women and wants them all barefoot and chained to the stove in a kitchen. That's how they respond if you even so much criticize. Like, even if you say something like, birth control it changes the brain and the body balance of like hormonal, you've been blocked.
Yeah, it fucks your homeostasis.
Yeah.
And the alternative is just not taking it. And I guess what, condoms? That's a problem. Yeah,
condoms work pretty well. There's a weird stigma around condoms. Condoms work
really,
pretty
really
goddamn
efficient.
well. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to turn this into the let me tell you the gross escapades of like of dating and online dating, because I already covered that in Ghost Jail. But the point is that I'm trying to make here is like Green said, like birth control, it is held up to be like such an integral part of some of these people's existence as if it was an article of faith. All right. And because of it, like some people have unshakable faith. And, I'd like to believe that for some people, like religion or spirituality can help them get through like very difficult passages in their life. It kind of helps them endure like suffering and the slings and arrows of fate. However, birth control, like, and again, I probably sound like a crazy person saying this, but like, it irks me that women with heads on their shoulders, like, okay, imagine sitting across a date and she has her shit together and she works at a job with a dress code and deadlines, and then she says something like Cardi B is my spirit animal, and then 4 hours later she doesn't even ask if you have protection. Like, these are the lives people live, and it's terrifying to me. All right, I'll stop sounding like a bitter old coot. I'm sorry.
I mean, as far as like the birth control thing goes, I don't understand it being propped up as this holy object. I don't get that. It's a fucking hormonal thing that helps you not get fucking pregnant. But Haynes, I have met with people who seem to think that birth control stops STDs as well. I don't know where that shit came from.
And it's weird because like then you start to wonder, like, okay, so like imagine all the people that question has been posited to, and as long as a guy doesn't hesitate or give off any like bad vibes, yeah, sure, babe, I'm clean. And then like before you know it, then like 1 week later, what's between her legs looks like something out of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Or
Like
even
it's just,
like even if it's not some grotesque, horrible STD, there are things that don't grotesquely deform you, but will still fucking kill you.
oh yeah, like HPV is it goes from undetectable to
Zero HPV Lovecraft.
can that be the title of this episode?
Look, man,
Sure.
I'm just waiting for male birth control to come out and they fuck with our hormones, but it ends up making us all jacked, and also we can't get women pregnant, and then they have nothing to bitch about.
Imagine like Monoxus goes on like male birth control and he gets so fucking diesel he can't scratch his back and he has to like rub the middle of his back against fucking ancient pillars and he has to
Then what? But what if they give it to
and-
us and then it's like y'all can stop taking it now? I'll take
and
it.
then
It's fine.
and then he has to hire like a dwarf to wipe his ass because he can't reach because his arms are so huge. Like
Why would I hire a
Well-
dwarf when I can get a bidet, Haynes?
Well,
Because-
the thing that is in the works.
Oh yeah,
It's actually weird we don't have it yet
I'm hyped.
because hormonal birth control or injected, multi-year birth control for men. We were supposed to have that a few years ago. It's actually weird it's not here yet.
yet being the operative word here. One thing I just wanted to touch on real quickly though, Green, like you see, one reason why I believe they hold up birth control as this like sacrament is because and I've probably mentioned this earlier on a previous episode, but like no, in fact the most recent one, we're surprised there's nothing at the bottom of the ocean. As people's existential pillars, like yeah, I was talking about how like women turn to being witches because like everyone else, existential pillars in our lives are eroding and we need to imprint onto something so we could feel a part of something greater than ourselves. So activist causes, are a gross, terrible substitute for these existential pillars, and like reproductive rights. Well, reproductive rights are women's rights, and it's like, yes, you're not wrong. Stop yelling at me. Why are you following me and pushing me around at work? Because in all due respect, Green, a lot of these people don't have anything else going on in their life. Like just it's like that whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but there's only 1 degree, and Kevin Bacon is like the CIA, whitey, Jewish people. For these people, Kevin Bacon is you want control over women's bodies. It's like, no, I don't. I ordered a number 3 with hot sauce. Why did you turn this into reproductive rights, lady? Shut up and take my money. Why are you yelling at me? This is Taco Bell.
The reproductive thing, I think it's an odd thing about society where I really believe that there are a couple variables that determine how a society is going to function. And those are overwhelmingly the most important ones. And everything is kind of a secondary thing to that, where you notice that so much of politics, it comes back to, at least partially, very basic decisions about sex, sexuality, family structures, what is okay and not okay in that realm. Where I think it's also interesting that as society is deforming more and more and more at the big scale, you see things like poly and desires to have matrilineal family structures start popping up along the fringes, where it's almost as if the big social collapse, it's almost causing a minor reversion to like ancient human behaviors at the bottom in odd ways.
Oh my goodness. Green, I'm glad you bring this up because like you end up seeing basic bitch, really lazy versions of like, if women were in charge, there'd be no wars. And it's like 3 of the 5 biggest military industrial complex like companies are ran by women. So is the CIA. What are you talking about here, lady? Like this whole matrilineal, let me tell you something. Matrilineal societies are schizophrenic, violent, and self-destructive, and the Iroquois were matrilineal and engaged in endless, pointless wars. All right. They also engaged in cannibalism, including a uniquely refined form of psychological torture of captives, where they would formally adopt male captives into a new family and give them the name and identity of a family member slain in one of those insane estrogen-driven wars. And let's be honest, by the time Europeans arrived in America, most Iroquois weren't even Iroquois, but captured members of exterminated rivals taken in slave raids. And then some months later, after treating this man with kindness and acceptance, they would tell him he was a guest of honor at a banquet. He would arrive only to find out he was the main course too, and his new family would then slowly torture him to death, cook his corpse, and eat him. And, yeah, not really here or there, but always fun to drop that when people claim women are more peaceful and argue for a matrilineal society or a matriarchy, or that Indians lived in some kind of agrarian utopia free of serious warfare or misery. It's all nonsense. But here's the problem. If me saying what I just said, evidently that means I hate women. So history is sexist and misogynistic. I rest my case.
No one hates women more than women hate women, in my experience. I'm just they make jokes about it, and it's fine when they go and say like, "Oh yeah, no," you know what I'm talking about. They go after each other more than we do, but when they do it, it's sisterly, and when we do it, it's bigoted, and sexist, and how dare we? I'm sorry. When I razz my bros, it's like that stupid meme. Bro, am I fat? Dude, I know 5 fat people, and you're 4 of them. And then they go fucking exercise. But like, I don't know.
And then, am I fat? No, queen.
No, you're not.
So
you're fine.
Beautiful.
And then like she goes to her other friend, and she's like, "Yo, that bitch gained mad weight."
But that's funny because like that's one thing I like to tweet once in a while. Like girls chat, "Oh my God, Monoxis is so pretty. He's the best." Oh, and then smaller, more inclusive group chat, "Oh my God, Monoxis is such a bitch." Boys group chat, "Hey fellas, check this out," and it's a guy sticking a fork in an electrical socket, and everyone's cheering him on. Like,
well, I honestly think I have never heard anyone say that they like women in general. You'll hear plenty of people say they like specific women. Like, I will say this.
Yo, some of my best female friends are women, all right?
No, in fact, let the record state some of Monoxis's best female friends are women assigned at birth. Okay, let the record state.
Okay. Good job. We cleared that up. The thing with women is specific. Or I used to be, I mean, I guess I still kind of am. I just quit caring. I used to be, red pilled, like I don't like women type guy. One time I was talking to an older female family member and saying, I fucking hate women. And they responded by going, "You only fucking hang out with women. What the fuck are you talking about? You talk to women way more than men." And then I realized, I don't hate women in reality. I hate the idea of women. And that was kind of a moment of realization of like, oh, I just don't like the concept of going out and talking to women. And like women in groups, I don't believe anyone actually enjoys that.
Oh, no.
People will defend it, but I think it's just, if you're
Lord.
a man, that's fundamentally painful to listen to.
No. But listen. This is one reason why, like, how like streaming services are taking down stuff like Gone with the Wind because, well, it's not in accordance with our time. I hope to God they never go after Married with Children because some episodes aged like a fun. You know why? To quote Al Bundy, "Bud, don't try to understand women. Women understand women and they hate each other." And he's right. he's just, and like, I hope to God they don't go after Married with Children. However, there was this old meme I saw where like when when a woman sees another woman wearing the same outfit and it's nothing but anger and rage, and then a guy sees another guy wearing the same outfit and they're like, "Bro, that's awesome," or like, "Lol," or like they high five each other, and it's like that's really true. Like I can't tell you the number of times I've been on the train and a woman will look at another woman wearing the same outfit and it's like she's shooting daggers out her eyes. And you want to hear like ridiculous takedowns, like women approach freestyle battle rap levels of, "Oh my God, she actually left the house looking like that. Oh wow, with ankles like that, how much can she squat? Ooh, she should be by to increase her chances looking like that." And it's like, wow, like a guy would have just easily went with, "That guy's fat and dumb looking," or like, "Bro, that's a nice shirt." Like the lengths women will go to criticize other women borders on like letters written during the Civil War. I swear to God, dude.
I mean, I kind of saw something like that recently, just in the vein of like the overcomplicated how they behave around each other. I was hanging out with this girl, and one of her friends came by because they were planning on hanging out for the day. Like it was like a one day we're gonna meet. We haven't seen each other in forever kind of thing. And the second she shows up, she immediately just goes into gossip mode. And I had to wait like 20 minutes because I was getting a cab and getting the fuck out of there. And 20 minutes, I think like 4 or 5 different talking shit about another person who both of them identified as their friend happened in like a 20-minute window. So later on, I'm hanging out with this girl again, and I'm like, okay, so how'd that go? Because my head was gonna explode just listening to this person go like, oh, and our friend, whatever, she's a bitch, and blah blah blah, and over with different people. Apparently, that went on for 3 fucking days, and when asked to like kindly leave and go home, she just didn't. And she just stuck around for days, and it was just constant, like a gossip and complaining about things going on. Could you imagine just having to suffer through that and then going, "Oh no, it's fine, my friend. You tried getting her to leave for days, and you just took it on the chin because she was your friend." But in the aftermath, she's like, "Oh no, that was miserable. I couldn't take it." But for 3 fucking days, you did though. I would have been like, "Son, get the fuck out. You got to go." The second one of my boys goes gossip mode, I'm like, I don't want to hear about your dumb shit. Don't tell me about what happened at work. I don't care. Like, can we play some Monster Hunter? Stop.
Well, in a way, we did just do that. I mean, we talked about various Twitter people we've had feuds with, although we don't actually know
various Twitter people.
Oh, but were you sitting there feeling smugly superior to Haynes the entire time?
Yes. The entire time. I mean, like, I don't know who this Catbot guy is.
Oh no,
apparently he's a jerk off.
you have no. He's a he is miserable.
But here's the thing:
garbage you peel off your boots.
I have to deal with Haynes going off about it for the sake of, okay, we're talking about Twitter. All right, this will last 20 minutes, a half an hour. 3 fucking days she put up with that shit. While being like, okay. I got things to do tomorrow. Can you go home? Oh, I'm just gonna hang out. Can I sleep on the couch? Okay, yeah, just stay over. Next day.
Okay,
I gotta go. Like,
Monoxis, in the interest of not doing that, I'm going to empower you right now. What do you want to talk about, sir? What interests you in your life? And I hope you feel pressured.
Pressured. I don't feel fucking pressured. I just my interests are very simple though, like exercising and video games. I don't get involved in that kind of nonsense.
What about Resident Evil? Do you like Resident Evil, Monoxis?
I mean, I do, and I'm very excited. I don't know anything. I'm very excited to wrap up on our playthrough of Leon B's story, so I can finally get to playing fucking Resident Evil 4 over on Twitch, where we're playing video games. Honestly, I'm kind of more excited for Village, but that's not until May, and I hope that game is absolutely beautiful. But I don't know, I'm kind of scared.
Is that the one with the tall lady?
Yes, big titty goth mommy.
That just doesn't work on me because I don't hate the concept of having that, but her actual design, it just does nothing for me.
I'm just confused by the game because so far we've seen some ghouls in the basement scenes, and there's a fucking werewolf, and apparently the daughters are vampires, and it's going full like grim fairy tale instead of Resident Evil. And considering we've gone from T-virus, G-virus, the Plagas, the fucking whatever 7 was, the weird mushroom fungus thing, and now we have fantasy monsters. I'm starting to feel like somebody's in like a fucking coma in the world of Resident Evil, and this is just their dreams.
Resident Evil it transforms so much as a fucking game. I want to say, I could be wrong, but I believe the original plotting for Resident Evil 4 was going to be there was a weird cloud of gas that followed you around the map. And it was a really abstract thing that broke wildly with the earlier games. I don't know that for sure. I could be fucking that up, but I believe that was Resident Evil 4.
Well, I'm glad they went with a parasite instead. They were going to take the Rise of the Silver Surfer route and make the villain a giant gas cloud.
Yeah. But if it was like some horrific like mist that turned people inside out, like
how do I shoot the cloud?
But okay, but I think as an idea that would be dope. Where like there's this variable you can't like deal with for now. So there's this thing turning people into zombies, and then like those zombies are trying to kill you. So even if you shoot every zombie in the map, there's still this like mist running around turning living things into things that can kill you. So like on a conceptual idea, I think that's kind of dope. But then again, on a conceptual idea, um, replying to people with smug anime girls instead of arguing with them on Twitter, that's also pretty awesome conceptually to me. So what do I know?
I was going to say about Village, it was interesting to see that they're taking Japanese fucking companies. Maybe it's because of anime. I don't know. But Japanese stuff is willing to just have stuff be fun that they don't necessarily have to explain. Where blatantly pandering to fetishes by having a tall, statuesque, sexy-ish villain, that's something they can do and just have the confidence in themselves to put it out into the world without explaining. Where if you did that here, it would require this veneer of fucking phony moralizing, and they'd have to make her kind of ugly on purpose so that people wouldn't feel threatened by it. There they can just be, no, here's this. Yeah, over there, they took a picture of her fucking shoe model so people can jerk off to it.
Oh yeah, you know the guy who designed her he had to have gotten a raise in the corner office because they were like, yeah, fucking giant big titty lady, let's go.
I mean, look at Dead or Alive Volleyball. Case closed. Like I don't like. There's just it's like, hey, digital titties, beach, volleyball,
I'm
bathing
perfectly
suits.
fine with this character being like weirdly placed in the world of Resident Evil, so long as the rest of the game is still like, oh look, zombies, oh weird mutation monsters and shooty guns and puzzles. And then every once in a while, you're walking through this nice place and you're trying to figure out where the next monster is going to show up. And then this giantess woman just picks you up and starts throwing you around. And for me, it'll be like, okay, I got to shoot the lady. I got to shoot her and get the fuck out of here. And someone's going to, pause and lose their shit because their dream's coming true.
It's funny you mentioned Green about how they would have to like give exposition and then make them like transracial, obese and in a wheelchair so they don't feel threatened by it. Like they have to make the character uglier than a Steven Universe character so they could be like, oh, she's just like me. But it is funny though how
Except 10 feet tall.
But Japan takes like the 80s action movie route of like wasting no time with exposition. That character will probably say 2 lines and that's all the backstory you need. Like an Escape from New York. Pliskin, eh? So you piloted a hangar craft in the Battle of Leningrad. Earned a Purple Heart, didn't you? And like that's it. You now know Snake Plissken is ex-Special Forces, fought in World War III. There was a Battle of Leningrad, and he earned a Purple Heart. Boom. That's all you need to know why he's getting sent into this fucking prison colony, as opposed to like the American version where Disc 2 is about how she went from a woman to the 10-foot tall Ham Galaxy butter golem in a wheelchair who's pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
I'm going to be really upset if when that game comes out, there is now a full chapter of like exposition dump on the giantess woman.
You could blame me if and when that happens. All right.
You breathe it into the world.
The thing about Japan is they have norms, but they're completely different from ours. So the stuff that they cannot get away with there is stuff that we don't even notice. Like, for example, you'll notice Japanese media tends to wildly downplay drugs because drugs are way more stigmatized in Japan than they are here. I never find myself hurting for the lack of drugs in the Japanese media I consume. It just isn't there, and I barely even notice. But then they get to have actual fun stuff that is just completely off limits here.
Oh, I think one reason is because Japan to me seems like a shame-based culture, while America seems more like a guilt-based culture. Does that make sense?
That definitely could be part of it, and I would definitely say yes. I think Japan is explicitly a shame-based culture. They're very socially pressuring,
and saving face is such a big deal, like in that culture. And the idiosyncrasies of Japanese culture are like not exactly saying aloud, but like there's like meaning to be interpreted behind it. Like they don't directly say out loud, if that makes sense. But you have to have like sift for the context within this domain. Does that make sense?
Yes, Americans who, and obviously I don't have firsthand experience, but Americans who go to Japan often find themselves very confused because things that are seen as respectable and forthright here can almost be seen as aggressive there. Where in Japan, it's much more normal to wander with your speech and not directly say no. Where if someone suggests something and you say, that could be a possibility, or you lilt away or something, that's how you say no. And like actually saying no is seen as aggressive and you're trying to alpha male the other person. So
Yeah.
they do have a really subtextual speech. And American businessmen who go to Japan, they'll do the American thing, and they'll show up in a suit and they'll shake your hand and look you in the eye and be like, "Hello, Mr. Miyamoto, let's get down the brass tacks. Let's have a good business session." And they'll like offend people because that's seen as like crazy brash over there.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like let's say Green's like, Haynes, can you help me mow my lawn tomorrow? And I'm like, it's really hard for me, and I'm not sure if I could commit to such a thing. It's looks very difficult right now, and it's like I didn't say no, but I'm already trying to like put distance between helping Green mow his lawn, and like actually saying no. And it's funny you mentioned the business, like the business setting thing, where like the biggest and most egregious thing American businessmen or people who do business in Japan is where like when they offer you their business card, you have to take it with both hands while bowing, and you have to like give yourself a moment to look at the business card before you put it away. And when you do put it away, you can't just stuff it in your pocket. It has to be like your wallet or somewhere else. And like and there's no like strategy guide for this. Like you have to learn how to swim in the ocean in that context, you know? So it's kind of, how do I put this? Um, uh, I don't want to say poetic, but it's sort of like it's almost like an extension of like their aesthetic. Does that make sense?
I
Like,
mean, you'd have to learn that just by dealing with it, I imagine, because I mean, I don't know much about the culture over there, but hearing that the things that I would do would be considered aggressive, even though I try and handle myself I try to not be an aggressive person. Like saying no to someone is something that they would be like, they think I'm trying to be big with them. Like, no, I just say no to things. That's kind of incredible.
a friend of mine, he went to Japan with his girlfriend, and like they were just like horse playing and like joking on like an escalator because like they kept messing up, like taking a selfie on the escalator, and like
Oh
my
God.
my friend had like this moment where he was like, there was this like elderly couple that was looking at them like they just insulted the emperor of Japan, because one, it was like you were loud in public. Number two, like horseplay, very bad. And like all these norms were like they had like, it wasn't until he went to Japan that he realized, oh, like maybe the loud American stereotypes might be true. Because
Well,
like
since you're saying it out loud, now I'm imagining going to the mall around here, and yeah,
oh my
it's
goodness,
the
Japanese
chatter of everyone talking is just constant, and
oh,
everyone's fucking like moving the
for
wrong way and fucking around and taking
and
pictures.
and they're unable to
So
walk
chaotic.
and they're unable to walk in a straight line or
Yeah.
faster than 2 miles an hour or both. My God, the ambience or ambiance. I'm an uncultured Slav. Come on, give me a break here. The ambiance of idle chit chat in the background is louder than the generic music playing over the speakers. God, if Japanese tourists went to like the Mall of America in Minnesota, they'd probably cry. They'd be like, "Why are you people living like this?"
I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of it, and I can't imagine going to a mall and not having to fight my way through people playing on the escalators.
Yeah, if something would be seen as anti-social or mildly disruptive here, if it would annoy someone like me here, over there, it's like unthinkably rude. And it can be really subtle. I had a Japanese teacher in high school who told me even the countries around Japan often have a hard time internalizing the Japanese politeness thing. Where if you go to China, can be very formal, especially in the upper classes. But China can be a very rough place at the bottom level. And the thing about China that was weird is she said a thing you learn in Japan is if you hand someone something, you do it with two hands. You always lean forward and give it to them with both hands. That's what you're supposed to do. And she said going to China and having people casually hand you things with one hand, it really made them realize how strict Japan can be. Because just the act of casually handing someone an object is...
I was going to hand my homie a beer. I got to fucking put it in two hands and lean into it.
Okay, that might be, but at least like in a business setting, you hand people things with two hands.
All right, fair enough. Because I was going to be really upset if it's like, let me get a cigarette. It's like, hold up, I got to lean into it. Like, no, stop.
Okay, we're now talking Ghost Jail. Minoxis, you fucking failed to get on Ghost Jail. What the fuck? How have you failed this badly? Explain yourself, sir.
Well, I think what happened is, so the only reason I even submitted something was because Haynes was like, check out Ghost Jail. And I like what they were doing. So I wrote something up. And what was the episode, Haynes? It was it
was mental illness, and you were discussing obesity.
Yeah, and I was talking about the weird way that people look at obesity nowadays and are trying to normalize it, even though it's a health condition and it's grounded in having like there's a mental health aspect to it. So I wrote a little thing about it and sent it over, but I sent it through the email for Ghost Jail, and I'm just assuming either whoever vets these things and decides whether or not it goes in didn't like it, or because they didn't have my email saved somewhere, it just went to a spam folder or got immediately deleted. So the next time I submit something, I'm going to give it to Haynes, who's already in contact with these people, so that he can give it to them and make sure that they get it. But that was my only submission. Other than that, I've been, pretty consistently listening to it. I think depending on who's, talking, it's good stuff. I wouldn't say I like all the things on every episode, but I think Haynes, you even have some. I forgot there was a lady, I believe, who you said got submitted, and you were like, "Why is this person even involved?"
Oh yeah,
that's one of the ones where it's like this isn't as good as the rest of them, and somehow she made it in.
Right, and all right, so here's the deal. Now for starters, Minoxis doesn't feel bad about not making it on Ghost Jail, and he shouldn't, because even people who Green, are you familiar with a guy on Twitter named Fodcore?
I do not believe so.
Well, long story short, he's edited videos for Sam Hyde and Frank Hassel, and he's really big into fitness and really against xenoestrogens and very, very critical of what people allow into their lives technology wise. He was one of the first people I met on Twitter where your use of the internet explicitly affects the way you use language in your everyday life, and him and I became mutuals because I was I said something to the effect of anyone who begins a statement with the word literally, you don't have to take it seriously. You are legally not obligated to take anything they say seriously. You could just ignore it. It's the law, So he sent something to Ghost Jail, and I thought it was flawless, and it didn't make it. But yet, some model with 8,000 followers on Twitter who's like, "Hi, I'm gonna say the thing for 17 seconds. I'm on the episode," and it's you disgusting piece of really this, and it's hard not to get a little bitter or vindictive, because it's a part of me is was she put in hopes of tweeting out "Hey, I'm on the thing," and it's oh, now all of your dumb shitty idiot yes queen slay friends, you want them to listen to Ghost Jail? Get the fuck out of here. But no, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little frustrating to even people who've submitted things and got onto Ghost Jail before, there's a guy I got on Ghost Jail, Crown Caribou, and he was on every episode except 5 and 1, and he submitted something to 5, and he recorded different voices and layered the tracks, and it sounded like dudes singing a hymn as they're emerging from a trench and fixing bayonets onto their rifle and getting ready to make a charge at the enemy line, and it sounded beautiful.
To be
It
fair,
was-
it's stuff like that. Like when I submitted my thing, it wasn't, low energy or anything, but you hear stuff like that on Ghost Jail. And then when mine doesn't get like put in, I'm like, I understand completely if my stuff doesn't make it in. Some people are really putting a lot of effort into the stuff they submit. So, next time I'll try a little harder and we'll see how it goes. But like some people, the production they put, the work they put into it is just amazing. It's
yeah,
it's really good stuff.
Yes, that is a thing about Ghost Jail. It seems like a really good idea where, just to give people some very limited context, Ghost Jail is a podcast and it's like a compilation podcast. Haynes, can you just explain in a very straightforward way, just structurally, what Ghost Jail is? Because a really well produced compilation podcast around a topic that people do submissions to, that's my understanding from the outside. Am I wrong in any way describing it that way?
no. I would describe it as like spoken word set to production music. Like I because sometimes episodes of Ghost Jail hit a stride, and people's submissions flow one into another, and I'm really amazed. Like, Monoxus, he for him to discuss the production value of this thing, like that can't be emphasized enough. Because imagine making an hour worth of like beats and music and ambience and background noise, and then fine tuning these things so they go hand in glove with the submission. I can't begin to imagine having to like come up with like ear catching good quality audio every month. Like I can't begin to imagine how they have the dexterity or constitution to do that. But
I
basically,
also, I also
it's
imagine that he's really lucky to have people. I mean, I assume it's a team of people, but they're really lucky to have enough submissions where they can pick and choose so they can get that kind of flow to make each episode work out well. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Green, like you nailed it on the head. Basically, a topic is chosen, and everyone has like because new episodes are released the first of every month. Like, ideally, you're not giving it to these people on the 28th, but like a topic is chosen, and then people submit something pertaining to that topic. It should be noted though that like one of the charms of Ghost Jail is how you hear perspectives that might not necessarily jive with, like, I don't want to call it mainstream opinions, but I'll be damned if you'll ever hear anything someone says on Ghost Jail. Like, you're not going to hear those perspectives on like, cable TV or on the news or even on like other people's podcasts. Cause like in a weird sort of way, it's like um all the runoff of perspective and opinion accumulating into one through one sewer drain, and that sewer drain is Ghost Jail. And like I know that might sound like a bad thing, but it's not, because like in all due respect, where else are you going to hear stuff like that?
I will say about Ghost Jail, it pretty consistently, from what I've taken in of it so far, there will be little bits here and there where I hear something that I don't know if I can completely agree with it. I don't know if it's completely right, but it never feels like it's coming from a place of malice or ill intent. It's always one of those things where even if there's something a little rough about something that's said on there always feels like there's something genuine behind it, where it's not a person being a dick or an edgelord. They're saying something they really do believe.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you
And
also
that,
like I've never really gone into Ghost Jail with the idea of like I'm about to hear some of the hottest takes on this subject matter. Sometimes you hear something and it sounds like, what was the last one? The Haynes you had showed me. The guy who was
war.
talking about the futuristic war against China. And I
Yes.
was like, yo, he had me in the first half, and then the whole second half becomes like body pillow weeb shit. And I was like,
Yes.
why would you put this? Like, that
Yeah.
first half
Yeah.
was a great take on the future of war, and then you just went into fucking like body pillow nonsense, and
Right.
it was nonsense by that point.
Just to reiterate for ladies and jerks listening at home, and Green, picture if you will, TLDR. So China conscripted a bunch of Tibetan Buddhist monks who have background in like demonology and shit, and they conscript them into like a weapons research program. And in 2035, these monks figured out that if they all focus on the frequency and the vibration of like molecules in nuclear bombs, they made all nukes around the world more or less obsolete. So in 2035, the engagements of war have now reverted back to the 1930s, like just hordes of people clashing in the battlefield, and like this whole unpacking of like this lore of how we got here. The first half, not gonna lie, it legit sounded like something out of like Metal Gear Solid. Like it was so concisely written, and like it's in the form of like an audio journal. And then the second half, like I'm not gonna lie, like it slowly goes off the rails where he's like, I keep a picture of my waifu next to me in my bunk. I don't talk to her, but I'd like to imagine she would provide warmth, and maybe that warmth is something God will grant me if when I die in battle. But God doesn't like it when people have sex, so He's probably not going to give this to me. Like, and then the second half is like, oh, you're kind of deflating this dude. But
that's exactly that. So as far as hot takes and change my mind about things, I don't know about that. But the people who do stuff like that, at the end of the day, it's still very entertaining. And when you make a podcast that's, even if it's only hitting an hour mark, or any kind of content that goes over like that 10-minute, like 10 to 30-minute view time that all of these things like to have, like YouTube and stuff, they love that kind of window. If you can just keep people listening and keep them entertained for an hour or more, then you're doing something good. So when you get guys like that on Ghost Jail, it keeps your attention. It's very fun to listen to. And then sometimes you get Haynes making a list, and it's just like, what is happening?
Oh yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm just glad I was asked to be involved with this thing in the first place. And it's a little bizarre because Ghost Jail is still honing and perfecting what it does. However, like, I challenge anyone to find anything that resembles Ghost Jail, because like they won't.
Actually, Haynes, I had a couple of questions for you about Ghost Jail that I don't know about. So maybe you can, and through this podcast, we can get that information out as well. Because I feel like you've listened, about some of the stuff that doesn't make the cut, right? Because you're in contact with people.
Yeah.
So do you actually have access to stuff that doesn't make the cut, or is it just because my shit didn't make the cut that you knew that there was now like a table of scraps that aren't being used?
Oh, well, you see, Monoxus, it got passed around by everyone, and everyone left fun little comments under what you said.
I would love to see the comments, because I would like the criticism so I can make it better next time. But I want to know if there's like, is it only because of that, or do you actually know how much is being kept out of these things?
Okay, so I don't have the exact number, but here's how it works. There is an email address everyone sends submissions to, okay? And the people who work on Ghost Jail have access to this email address. So like, like if you go to Big Boy Berto, BIG_BOY_BERTO. He's the person who's in charge of Ghost Jail, but he has 3 other people like working with him in tandem. So, there are multiple people with access to this email. So like, it's sort of a way for people to like, I want to say it's consensus driven, because like the bits are played for like it's not like a listening party. I think they just get on Discord and listen to them, and then they like, I like this, I didn't like this, and they or like, sometimes they'll listen to it in the privacy of like solitude or something, and then come with notes like, okay, anything from this email, like they seem to be consistent. Someone from this email sent this, it sucked. Everyone has their own different note system. However, a lot of things get submitted that don't make the cut, like a lot of things. And partially it's because there's no rules. Like a submission can range anything from like a radio broadcast of a revival preacher addressing his congregation through like a radio speaker. I cut a fake G.I. Joe commercial. insisting you have to buy the 44th Strong Feminine Venus Battalion to reclaim the Spratly Islands and prevent China from asserting its dominance in Africa. You know, it's. I think part of the problem is sifting through all of these things, because I've been told there are still emails that just went unanswered because of time constraints, or like, imagine getting 2 hours worth of good material and you have to boil it down to 1 hour.
Those bastards didn't even open my email.
Oh, I wouldn't. You know, like, honestly, I could ask. I have no
I
qualms
don't
asking.
actually care. It's fine.
Oh.
But the other thing I was actually going to ask, since the email, because I don't, I mean, in case anybody hears this and is like, I want to submit, is the email publicly put somewhere? Because I know I got it from you, so I was able to reach out to you directly and get that email.
Oh,
But, like, how would you even find the submission link?
let me find out. Hold on. Is it even on Berto's profile? Let me
And
check out.
while he's looking at that, Minoxus, now that you've said that, my fondest wish is that when Ghost Jail 7 drops, it's just called Minoxus.
Oh, imagine.
And it's nothing but your submission, but produced to the quality of a movie.
Well, I mean, I think the next one, I have an idea for a submission, so we'll see if I come up with something that I feel is worth actually sending. But I think, Haynes, the next one is the vacation one.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
Ghost
more
Jail
of
on
a-
vacation.
Like a relaxed one. So I don't know if I'm going to have anything good for that.
Oh,
Because God knows how many things they're going to get. And a more relaxed take on thing is going to be, it's going to be a lot easier to make into something. So
Oh,
I
I
don't have
think.
any standout things to say.
Well, here's the deal. Ghost Jail on Vacation was explicitly chosen because, like, no politics, keep it lighthearted. And like, because, you know, the episodes up until now were like women, liberals, conspiracy theories, mental health, war, and okay, this is the best way I could put it. Writing for Super Predator requires a certain perspective and attitude and like a certain kind of engagement. I can't write as if I'm writing for Super Predator 24 hours a day, or I'd lose my fucking mind. Okay. So to constantly be like, and you know what else is a socio-political issue that I have strong and surly opinions about? And you know what else I want to raise my voice about? And you know what else? Like, no, you can't, like, only Alex Jones can do that. Okay.
And that man's a gift from God.
Or Glenn Beck, or, you know, or Rachel Maddow. So like, this was a deliberate way to take a step back, and like, because like, if you're not having fun, what's the point? You know, like, if it's not fulfilling and as engaging for the creator as it is for the listener, what's the point? So Ghost Jail 6 is going to be on vacation. However, I'm not opposed to Ghost Jail 7 of just like Monoxus muttering to no one in particular as he does like sets in like while lifting weights, just grunts and him musing aloud set to production music.
Please, God, no, I don't think I can keep it up for that long.
Ooh, I love the grunts when he squats at the 33-minute mark.
Looking at Ghost Jail from the outside, it seems like there are some very weird things about the production and some complexities about it. One, it does seem like some episodes there is, you know, variation in quality, and I almost feel maybe there's an obligation they feel to use a certain amount or reach a certain amount of length, where I don't see Ghost Jail as a place that would release, you know, a 30-minute episode that was, you know, only brilliant bits, just because that's not how it works. It seems like they like the format. And another thing about Ghost Jail is it both seems a little like too highbrow and too low. Oh, that's not the right word. Looking at Ghost Jail, I feel like I'm not funny and approachable enough to do one of the sillier bits. And I'm a little worried. I don't know if I'm smart enough to submit one of the more entertaining bits or a good enough writer. So looking at it, it's Ghost Jail's kind of intimidating because it feels like they have a really distinctive vibe that everyone's on. And whether or not you could gel with that, it seems like it takes a special type of person to really instinctively know how to jump in there.
Look, man, you just gotta write stuff until they take the submission and it's good enough.
Honestly,
just keep submitting.
Honestly, if it's over the fence, it's a home run. Like that's it. Which is like I think why like I'll give you an example. Like for the conspiracy theory episode, someone sent like a 3 minute clip of like it sounded like a legit scripted like one act play, and it like I was told it was brilliant, but they were like, this doesn't fit the episode at all, even though it's brilliant and genius. So like there are instances where things are turned down because it doesn't fit, not because it just isn't good. But then again, like, this is someone else's vision who's working alongside three other people. However, I mean, honestly, like Green, just submit something, or if you want to submit something, give it to me and I'll hand it to them because like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Just ask Lee Harvey Oswald. Hi-yo.
Terrible. Fucking terrible.
Say what you want about say what you want about Lee Harvey Oswald. He saw his moment and he took it. Allegedly. I don't fucking know. And I have no and I'm not like chomping at the bit to dry Ghost Jail, but Ghost Jail is so Ghost Jail. Fuck me. But it does look so cool that I do want to keep an eye on the topics, because if they have one that I have something good for, then yeah, like the mental health one, when I listened to that, I had so many moments in my life that synced up with something they talked about in that. Obviously, I've mentioned the mushroom thing. I worked with severe mental health cases at one point in my life. So the feeling of, opening a door and seeing that someone's bleeding and is fucking hurting themselves, I know exactly what that feels like. I've been in that moment, and that really stuck with me when they were talking about that. But vacation, I mean, my whole life is a vacation. I've been unemployed for over a year now. So don't really have anything with that. It actually reminds me.
There's a bit for vacation talking about the 1 year off we all got and what you did.
But I have a feeling other people will probably come up with that as well.
No,
I'm waiting for half the submissions to be about sex tourism.
But your experience is one that no one else had. So if something interesting happened, there you go.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Green, because like when I was talking to Berto before episode 5 was released, he was like, it's gonna be Ghost Jail on vacation. And I remember he said, I'm kind of expecting people to send bits about sex tourism. And I was like, all right, bad news, you get submissions about sex tourism, and I'm the only dude who sends a submission about female sex tourism. Good news, you get 0 submissions about sex tourism, and I'm the only one talking about sex tourism. Because when people think of sex tourism, you think of like gross, weird looking dudes flying to Cambodia, Thailand, or the Philippines, even though no one wants to talk about ham hock, cottage cheese arm, women from like Canada, England, the Netherlands, going to places like Kenya, Morocco, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and Greece to get dicked down by the locals, and then break down into crying jags, sobbing into the chest of some guy who looks like he couldn't even be bothered, like he's waiting for a bus that never comes, patting her on the back, going, there, while some woman is like, I'm gonna miss you, Ricardo. And like the guy is doing like the back and forth rocking motion, going, ay, tranquilo, mi amor, tranquilo. Like when people discuss sex tourism, they never discuss that. So that's my bit.
At this point, I really hope that Ghost Jail gets nothing but sex tourism submissions, and the entire they have to change the name of the episode. It's no longer about being on vacation. It's just the sex tourism episode.
Then number 8 is vacation parentheses without the sex.
Yeah, vacation, no sex tourism.
Yeah, vacation but for real this time.
but you see. Part of you know what? Hang on. Let me bring my notes. Everyone don't grab your ankles. It's not SummerSlam. Hold your horses. Okay. Hang on.
Oh no. The notes are coming out.
Okay. While you're getting the notes, I'll say, Ghost Jail, looking at it, it immediately caused flashbacks to about a year ago when, encyclopedia.zone was very big in this corner of the internet.
I mean, I never got into the zone stuff, but I've heard nice things.
Oh, okay. I forgot Monoxus is just quietly above it all. That was
not above it. I think I got lazy where it was like, you got to submit something to get in. And I was like, fuck that.
That was the thing with the zone where the zone seemed at the same time really high quality in the overall tone and just the holistic picture of what it was. Even though many of the individual posts were low effort, they were shit posts, they were very casual, but that caused something that made it kind of hard to even try to come up with something to try to submit to there. Because for a while, I was actually like writing an essay, like a really serious political essay about Corona that was like really conceptual. And it took me so long to make. Like the zone basically collapsed by the time I would have submitted it anyway. And I think that was kind of a lesson, like, don't get too hung up on, is your thing going to fit? Because just if people throw it out, you still have it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On top of that, like, there are plenty of things, like, there's so much stuff that you can put out there, and even if it doesn't get used for the intended use, like some of the stuff that Haynes just throws out, he met people that he now does other things with, like how we're on this podcast right now, just by throwing things out there and someone going, hey, I like, what you're doing. So maybe it doesn't make it into Ghost Jail, but someone sees it and goes, hey, like this is still good. We need to reach out to this person.
That's actually that's something I have no qualms elaborating on, where like Lev and the Break the Rules stream, I ended up on the stream because he's friends with the guy who's behind the account women posting their L's online. And
wait, you were on Break the Rules. Is everyone on Break the Rules?
We're gonna be on Break the Rules. I've been on Lev's Pokemon and art streams.
Oh, okay. I didn't know who these people were 2 days ago, and now everyone I know is independently involved with them.
So I'll get into that story in a bit, but to chime in what Monoxus was saying, simply by putting stuff out there that has made, like, for example, like that's made people be like, hey, you need a video editor? Like, nah, I'm good. But but down the road we might collaborate. Or like, hey man, I like your stuff. Oh, thanks, dude. And then before you know it, now like there's some madman in Indonesia who's like our number 2 biggest fan on earth. like things like this happen. So I'll get to that in a bit, but I just want to discuss female sex tourism. All right. So
don't give away your whole bit now. You still gotta submit it.
I won't. Don't worry. But but herein lies the issue. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Green, this might come off as a bit bitter and vindictive. So here's one of the things. Okay. It's like women who go on these kind of vacations don't see it as prostitution, as opposed to it's one thing to just pay a woman for a certain amount of time to bump uglies, as opposed to women who are romanced and seduced by a dude 1/3 her age, and then she might not be directly paying him, but she's paying for all of his shit, buys him clothes or things, takes him out to dinner, and then he gives her a hot foaming beef injection. And that allows a woman to justify this as not prostitution. They're like, oh, it's romance tourism. And it's like, yeah, you're totally not buying your ego back at the expense of someone else's health or happiness. And it's totally not power or opportunism, it's just the informal tourist economy, So here's an example, okay? Imagine, and for the record, this is going to be voiced by a friend of mine. So if it comes from me, it sounds insane. But imagine a woman pitching female sex tourism vacation package to another woman. Because one weird thing about this is that it's not just gross old dudes who go for sex tourism. There are dudes who on the outside look well put together and don't look like they would have any problem picking up women or getting dates in America, they're still going to places like Thailand, Cambodia, the Philippines. So imagine, with increasing independence and financial self-reliance, women are able to travel, exercising independence from men of their culture, allowing female sex tourists to have the opportunity to explore new gender behavior, breaking conventional gender roles within the relational construct of gender identity. Just kidding. It's prostitution. I had you there for a moment, didn't I? So that is what I plan on sending out, and I'm just really glad I have a platform to say these things. Like I don't. I'm honestly, Green. I don't know why people follow me on Twitter, and I don't know why people ask me for shit. But it happens. So like I'll give it my best, but it's just bewildering. I just wanted to make videos. Now I'm here. I just wanted to make videos with my friend that we couldn't find anywhere else, so we make them. I just and now people, hey, you want to be on the thing? No, go away. How did you find me?
Except you keep saying yes.
Well, it's
Yeah,
because it's because so
And
far
you'll keep saying yes.
it's because so far I've gotten nothing but pretty good pitches so far, And here's the thing. Pretty good pitches so far by people who I'm kind of partial to begin with, So
That's
maybe
fair.
you're right. So maybe you're right, Green. I think Ghost Jail has a certain vibe or air or atmosphere to it because of the people involved in it, Um, so so so
I was talking about that to Monoxus while you were getting your notes. It actually gave me flashbacks to the Zone, because there was a brief period of time when I wanted to, submit to the Zone. I was interested in it, and I was kind of intimidated by the tone and the vibe of the place more than anything else, where it felt like submitting something that disrupted the dynamic of the place was a greater sin than submitting something that was simply just not as good. And that actually caused me to delay. Like I have half completed essays, like very serious political essays from like earlier in the pandemic, just sitting on my hard drive somewhere because I took so long to try to make them that the Zone basically ground to a halt in that interim, and then the moment was gone. Ghost Jail is very intimidating in a way. It's very captivating, though, in that it has a unique personality and a unique vibe that you don't really get anywhere else so far. Sorry, you don't really get anywhere else. And that's what attracts it. It's more, there's a feeling and a cadence to how it operates that I don't know if I can get that at any other podcast right now.
Okay, well, I mean, I think one thing that should be considered though is that it's part of the reason that vibe is there is because everything is done online. I don't know, I'd like to believe that if you had these people in physical proximity to one another, it might come out differently. I know that's a really weird thing to say, but I have no other way how to describe it.
No, that's a good point, actually.
However, I think part of I think well, the comparison to encyclopedia.zone is fair, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a little heartbreaking that how do I put this? The website sort of ground to a halt because everyone's lives, Chinese lung herpes took a strained and greasy dump in everyone's life. And it sort of it I don't know. I don't want to I kind of miss that place actually. I miss just hanging out in M chat and shooting the shit with people because it had its own distinct vibe and feel, even though it might have been a little bit of super secret treehouse feely. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do, and I think that was part of the charm.
Yeah, I mean, well, you had to audition to get into the site. for lack of a better term. Like the quality control was like, to have your account activated on encyclopedia.zone, you had to send a 250 word post or less, a song, a picture, a video, something you made. Like you had to audition to get in. So in a way, Ghost Jail is similar because like your submission is sort of your audition for that episode, And just because you've been on Ghost Jail before, that doesn't guarantee you being on Ghost Jail like next time. So one thing I just wanted to mention real quickly, like Encyclopedia.zone also has its own vibe and feel to it. That I never found anywhere else, like except maybe in like back in the day when you needed screen names and passwords to log on to websites and post on forums. Like honestly, Green, like if you feel compelled to submit something, like go for it. Like let it like pour the cement out and let it dry and put it to rest. Because, I've found in life that we often regret the things we didn't do or say much more than the things we did or say. So come on, Green, move your ass. You've got a good head on your shoulders. Make with the submissions.
I don't know why this is becoming self-help for me.
Because you need to submit things. But to add on to what he was like, to what Haynes was saying about that, like part of us even making videos and streaming, it started with the whole idea of, there are things that we've been thinking about and there's nowhere to put it. And sometimes when you put it out there, either it helps and you're like, it's out, it's too late, I can't take it back, and they feel better having it out. Or you go, you know what, I have to reevaluate that and work on it again. So it's just like submitting writing for Super Predator and Ghost Jail. Like I'll submit something and then go, no, that was shit, I gotta do better. I can fix this and make it like the fucking Elon Musk thing I wrote. I still have to work on that, but God knows when the Super Predator stuff's gonna get updated.
Right. Well, for argument's sake, with Super Predator, it should be noted, the guy I'm in best touch with in the art department, he had a welding accident and he was at risk of losing vision in one eye, so he was out of commission for a while, and he's fine now. He's back to 100%. But there was a period where like there was a possibility they would have to do surgery on his eye to cauterize the capillaries in the retina. Yeah. Like it did not look good. And I
remember when you mentioned it.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of terrified because like imagine only having one eye as an artist. Like that's fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, you'd have to change up his style completely.
So or his fucking life for that matter.
In general.
But on top of part of the reason it's taken time to get things moving is because one, he wants to do more like live broadcast video streaming stuff. So he's been, and here's the thing, like Spoons is a welder by trade. So like all the video equipment, like it's all stuff he salvaged from like junkyards, stuff he broke down, and like picture someone Minecrafting a video puppet system for live broadcasts. Like that's what he's been doing. Also, ever since like Biden took office, we kind of have to like reassess what it is we want to move forward with. Does that make sense? Because like the political atmosphere is like it's kind of different now, and like it's this weird, underwhelming, like sleepy Biden is immune to criticism like setting we find ourselves in.
I think it depends on who's reading it, though. To be honest, you guys can still push that stuff.
Yeah, up to a point. It's just that like we want, we don't like, part of the charm of Super Predator is that like years from now, if you pick up a copy of issue number 1, it's still relevant. So to the hardest part is keeping things that are topical out of, like, for example, like I wrote about Google domesticating us through weaponized psychology and algorithms, all right, and AI, or how office work and office culture are crimes against humanity. Like 20 years from now, that's still going to be relevant. We didn't.
Oh
want
yeah,
to
I know what you mean. You don't want to make an issue that's based purely around what's happening right now, and then when someone looks back on it, it's like if you weren't there, you don't get it.
Right, and like we took a gamble on doing an update about the Capitol riot, like what happened in January 6th.
Oh well, people that's gonna live on for forever at this point.
Right.
That's history now.
But like, okay, so Green Monoxis. Here's a perfect example of what it's like when you're fielding submissions for something. The Super Predator got like over 100 submissions for the Capitol Hill riots update, and they took 4. Like,
Yeah, there you go.
and like, out of over 100 submissions, 7 were like, this is really good, and then they had to whittle it down to 4, just so they could get the update up the next day. So like, imagine all the shit that doesn't get used. So just real quickly before I forget, Green, is there anything you want to sound off or ask or Monoxis while we're here? I can't tell you how Ghost Jail smells, but I could tell you everything else about Ghost Jail. All right.
I did have a few things about Ghost Jail. One thing about Ghost Jail that I found interesting and also frustrating is the thing about Ghost Jail is it involves so many people who have their own platforms and their own projects. That's part of what makes it so good. It also is a little sad to look at, knowing a lot of the people involved in this, like the credit has to be divided up many ways. So it's almost like Ghost Jail's appeal is not so much in the form of, I don't know, accomplishment or honor, but more a sense of belonging and being part of the project. Just in the sense that I was looking at thinking, when you have this many people contributing to each one, even if the end product is really good, it's a little unfortunate that like a lot of these people aren't going to get more, I don't know, credit or valor with the people watching. Because it's not like many people are going to go through and click on every person and track down where every bit came from,
Yeah, that's true. However, I think, well, all right, well, I'm glad the Ghost Jail is considerate enough to like add timestamps to let people know, because like part of like part of the thing that draws people to Ghost Jail is like, oh, that guy I follow on Twitter, he's on this episode, so I'm just gonna fast forward straight to his bit, and then hopefully they stick around and listen to someone else. Like that's part of how Ghost Jail works, because like while there are some people who watch from beginning until end, I mean, listen from beginning until end, some people are only there because, oh, I saw Logo tweet about this, let me listen to Logo's bit, okay, I'm done. However, the credit of being a part of it, like, I mean, anyone who ends up on Ghost Jail, they take it upon themselves usually to tweet about it and be like, hey, check me out on Ghost Jail. So like now you're having all these overlapping circles of all these different like populations all going to the same thing. Like, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does. Are you in Monoxis winding down a bit right now?
I actually do have to leave in a little bit. I have some stuff to do before we get our stream set up.
Cool.
Yeah,
are you streaming all day? Or
No. I just have to. I mean, I have my own stuff to do, and then we might. I'm not sure if we're going to be filming any bits or recording any bits for the channel, like the YouTube channel specifically.
Yeah, because whenever we stream, like, I mean, some days like I go to his place, we hit the floor running with streaming, but on the days we stream, like, we plan things out and film, or like figure out like what to do and what to make and what to upload like down the road. Like for example, like I'm gonna get to Monoxis's place before we stream today, because like I kind of want to work out the details of, there's a 420 rally on May 1st. We have to bring the sandwich board. I will wear the sandwich board. You film me marching alongside these people, wearing a luchador mask, talking to people, wearing a sandwich board that says legalize crack, ask me why.
Like, oh yeah, I'm definitely down for that too. That sounds like a great plan. Legalized crack part 2.
And I love how when we filmed the day the weed died, you even joked yourself. It was like 420 is taking place next week on some dude's apartment.
Yeah, like 420 got canceled and it's gonna happen in May, and now there's like May rallies. All right.
But
Also,
but
I
no-
still have to put that fucking. I got a new green screen that I have to mount up, and that's gonna take a little while too.
oh, nice.
For a very long time, I've wanted to do a gag where like I put up a green screen and then like I snap my fingers or something and I'm on camera and I turn into the footage and not the green screen. That's
could
the
be fun.
lamest joke I've ever came up with, but I still
But
haven't had a
it could be
chance to
fun.
use it. Yeah,
You just gotta
I
get yourself
have
a green. You gotta get yourself a green man suit.
that's I do. It is funny about crack being legal. I'm pretty close to Oregon, so I should go over there with a sandwich board that says, keep crack legal. Ask me why.